travel, news and Mark Kermode's film reviews with Simon. They're up on the roof.
We are up on the roof, and we came up here because Mark Kermode had fallen asleep in the commentary box. We were right on the centre court. I know it wasn't the most fantastic match ever, but you fell asleep in one of the great sporting arenas known to man.
It was a zen zone that I was in. I was communing with the players on an astral plane. I don't need to watch, Simon. I mean, I was just there with the game.
Excellent.
I was the ball. I became the racket.
You were in the zone.
I was the bat.
So reviews.
There weren't enough goals anyway.
We'll spend some time on Die Hard, which is the big poster movie of the week, and then we'll do some other reviews as we sort of get scattered throughout the rest of the afternoon. Box office top 10 this week involves this at 10, Tell No One,
which I like very much, a French adaptation of an American thriller, and good if overly twisty.
Captivity at 9.
I think the torture porn, which doesn't exist genre, is finally going out the window, and it's good to see that's gone down to number 9. It's horrible.
Vacancy at 8.
Which of all those nuts and bolts slasher rehashes we lived through all this in the 1970s is the better one.
Right. Is this a misprint at 7? Apney?
Apney?
That's what it says. A-P-N-E.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't seen a film called Apney.
Have you not?
No.
You've missed it. Apparently.
I'm sorry.
The most talked about movies.
Is it?
It's a typo, but it's Apney. It's at 7. La Vie en Rose at 6.
Which is fine, except for the fact that she, obviously she's lip syncing and it misses out the whole of World War II in a way that only a French movie could.
Hostel Part 2 at 5.
Eli Roth needs to be slapped and sent to bed with no supper until he agrees to stop doing this sort of thing.
Pirates of the Caribbean at the World's End at number 4.
3 hours of your life which could be more productively spent, doing almost anything else. Gardening.
There do simply be an awful lot of these movies in the top 10 where the people should be thoroughly ashamed of themselves.
Yeah,
Ocean's 13 at 3.
Well, Julian Sands turns up and that's a great big black hole.
4, Rise of the Silver Surfer at 2.
Not as good as it ought to be, but not quite as bad as the original Silver Surfer film. I do wish they'd stop doing the Invisible Woman, takes all her clothes off and then becomes visible again gag.
And the UK's number 1 is Shrek the Third.
Which, it is a general downward spiral. However, it'll satisfy the kids in as much as they'll be in one ear out the other. They'll enjoy it. They won't remember it in the same way they will Shrek 1 and 2. I think we've had enough of the Shrek movies now. Unfortunately, Shrek 4 is due in 2010.
Apney is right. It's an Indian boxing film. Make sure you see it by next Friday.
I will do. We haven't been press shown it.
Okay, so amongst
the thing is, it's just that usually when you read titles out, the possibility of it being a typo as opposed to is very, very high.
Okay, big release this week, Die Hard 4.0.
So when people revise franchises, it generally is a sort of an indication that their acting career is sort of on the way. You think of Schwarzenegger doing Terminator 3 because things going so well, or what's his name, Sylvester Stallone, who's now done. Well, we're not allowed to call it Rocky 5, Rocky 6. It's actually Rocky Balboa, and he's about to make Rambo 4, but we're not allowed to call it that. It's John Rambo. However, Bruce Willis going back to the Die Hard franchise. I mean, I like Die Hard. You saw the other Die Hard movie, the first Die Hard movie, just recently on television.
It's very good.
Really holds up well. But here's the beauty of it. It is cowboys and Indians in the Towering Inferno. There's a single location. He's being the cowboy, the Alan Rickman, Where Are My Detonators character is being the Indian. That's how it works out. It's perfectly sort of stripped down. The next one, let's do it on an aeroplane. The next one, okay, let's confine it to New York City. Fourth one is, let's do pretty much the whole of the Eastern Seaboard. This time, however, it's Die Hard 4.0, and that title tells you that it's computer literate. Hey guys, you know what? The 21st century computers are really it. I'm sort of thinking, Hackers came out in 1995, so that means at least 12 years too late on the aren't computers hip and down with the kids thing. But the plot is, this time, the whole of the Eastern Seaboard was being brought down by cyber terrorists who have hacked into the mainframe. I have to say, the fastest connected internet provider I have ever seen in my life. I mean, I go onto mine and it's like,
you haven't got connected in the New Forest, have you?
No, well, we haven't got broadband, but even on, I hear that broadband is very fast, but it's nothing like as fast as this guy.
An email from Mike Garvey, who says, just seen Die Hard 4.0. After careful consideration, I'd have to say it is without doubt the stupidest, most moronic film in the history of cinema. In fact, I'll include all future films in that statement. I can't conceive anyone could ever top this film for sheer silliness. Some films have come close, the Apple Mac-compatible alien spaceship in Independence Day, but nothing can top Die Hard 4, which just piles on one insanely impossible scene on top of another until it achieves a sort of dumbness nirvana.
The main problem with it is that the dumbness isn't original. So nearly all the stunts you've seen before. So there's the bit that's in the trailer of Capitol Building getting blown up, which kind of looks like the White House getting blown up in Independence Day. There's the bit when they shut down a whole city by messing with the traffic lights, which is kind of from the Italian Job. There's also a key scene in which there's a helicopter, right? And Bruce Willis drives a car, and the car goes up a ramp, and the car hits the helicopter. Everyone's saying this is the great big, money shot, fantastic, wonderful stunt. Well, there's a movie in the 1990s called Stone Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth, who was an American footballer, lunk-headed American footballer with sort of, short hair and a sort of horrible cat flap thing at the back, and he drove a motorbike out of a window at a helicopter in a Craig Baxley movie back in the 1990s, so that's not original. All the lines is stuff you've heard before. We get Bruce says things like, this time he's saving his daughter rather than his wife, because they kind of figure probably, Bonnie Bedelia, it's not eye candy enough, let's get somebody young, that way it'll kind of work out. And he does the thing about, I have repeatedly asked you to call me Dad, which is a line from Armageddon, you will remember. Then we get all the usual stuff that when things go bang very loudly, he does, oh, that's going to wake up the neighbour. And it's like watching sort of hits on 45 of action genre movie cliches. The other thing with it is, I mean, it's not without a certain passing interest, because I quite like Bruce Willis, and he does look good running round in various states of disarray. However, the promotional item for Die Hard 4.0, which in America, incidentally, is called Live Free or Die Hard, but they kind of figure that over here in Europe, we would think that sounded far too sort of post-Iraq flag waving. He never, in the film, actually gets to just wear the vest. There is a promotional vest, which I've got, which says Die Hard 4.0, but he keeps his singlet on, because you know what? He's a bit old, so it's, Die Hard, but wrap up nice and warm, because, get your cardi on, Bruce.